the Earth. What images arise in your mind when you hear this word? Is it fertile soil? Or land covered with impervious forests and bright and graceful flowers? With buildings designed by brilliant architects and engineers with their breathtaking constructions? Or maybe you see our planet. Let us now together recall some postulates about Mother Earth we were taught since our early childhood. Earth is the third planet from the Sun in the solar system. It is the most solid planet, the fifth in diameter and mass, and the largest among the terrestrial planets of the system, which include Mercury, Venus, and Mars. About 70% of the planet's surface is covered with the world's oceans, and continents and islands cover the rest. Together with rivers, lakes, underwater, and the areas covered with ice, the oceans make up the planet's hydrosphere. Earth's inner areas are quite active and consist of a thick, viscous layer called the mantle, which covers the liquid outer core. That is the planet's magnetic field source, and the solid inner core. Earth interacts with other objects in space, including the Sun and the Moon. The Earth revolves around the Sun and makes a full revolution in about 365 solar days. And most importantly, it has a spherical shape. That is the truth we were taught, as were our ancestors. We are all indissolubly connected with our kin, not just physically, but energetically as well. The very first information about the world is received while we were still in the mother's womb. Then we absorb the ancestors' experience through the breast milk, and our subconscious is filled with new information gathered by our kin. Later, when a child has grown up a bit, the formation of their conscious part of the personality begins. Like a sponge, kids eagerly absorb a vast amount of information. Children don't know cynicism. They are full of interest and the will of exploration. And that's when their parents come to help and share their understanding of the world. The child takes everything for truth. And why wouldn't they? Parents can't be wrong, right? They are the main authority, the ones we should inherit. Then we go through kindergarten, school, university, regular TV watching, and another average consumer is ready to serve. He will waste his life for a hated job, having peanuts in return, cursing government, and living from weekend to weekend. But how can we tell the truth from a falsehood? How is the info distorted? Is it because of the foolishness of our kind, or by someone's insidious will? I suppose it is not a secret for you anymore, my tempted spectator, that the responsibility for this lies not just on people's imperfection, but also on the strict will of the smart and imperious minds that want to possess a godlike power to control the destiny of humankind. They have no need for some extraordinary persons in free, talented, and creative dreamers. Oh no. Their main goal is to build a herd of consumers, easy to manipulate. But for now, let us get back to our precious planet Earth. So, Earth is spherical and revolves around the Sun. Why do you think so? Because that's what you and your friends and relatives were taught? Many of you may be shocked right now, but that's false. Only the naivest and the most unenlightened ones keep believing that. By now we have multiple evidences and facts that refute that prove we are all being lied to. as well as they prove the fact that they are trying to make us think there is nothing but matter, that humans are nothing more than a piece of meat that has no goal and no sense of existence. The piece that starts to die from the moment of its birth. And so the model of our planet, of our cosmos, was created for the same purpose. Their purpose. And that is what we are going to discuss today. So, what does Earth look like? Don't hurry twisting your fingers at the temples and closing this video. But Earth is flat. It is the shape of a plain disk, to be more accurate. And there are plenty of factors confirming that. NASA former employee Matthew Boylan, who used to work in the operational graphics department for several years, was so stunned by what he had to do on his job that he considered it his duty to share this with everyone. He revealed that the images of the Earth we have ever seen are drawn or made with graphics.
He was basically explaining the flat Earth and how it works. And he literally drew the UN flag. And I thought that this is a joke on me. This is some sort of initiation to see if I'm stupid or to see if I'm going to buy this. I thought they were fucking playing with me to see if they could convince me it was flat. And what was creepy about the whole thing is that they were more laughing at me for not getting it.
Boylan and his colleagues' mission was to make the spherical Earth pictures. But as Matthew states, Earth is actually flat. NASA exists only to produce and promote false ideas of Earth's spherical shape and the exploration of space. Thanks to Dave Murphy, the British scientist, we have the following arguments. If a pilot would fly by a curved trajectory, they would need to lower the plane's nose every 5 minutes. But that does not happen. Let us suggest there is a gyroscope built into the plane, and the plane follows the curve of the Earth. In that case, the gyroscope would remain in the same position, and then the horizon line on it would start rolling back, which doesn't happen. That is an absolute proof that planes fly over a flat area.
Why is there land at the equator? Because water will move more readily than rock. So if the Earth is spinning, the water will be collected at the equator. I mean, if you spin a wet tennis ball, you spin a wet tennis ball, the water shoots off at the equator, essentially. So all the water will be gathered around the equator. So why is there land at the equator? Doesn't make any sense.
Dave asked to broadcast the spherical Earth from a satellite live if NASA has nothing to hide. But they keep refusing. To be more accurate, NASA does show some translations on their channel. But James Linsman and his crew of video engineers examined the material NASA provided and came up with a definite but disappointing conclusion. The videos are fake. A well-made fake created by visual effects experts. Auguste Piccard, a talented scientist, inventor of the stratospheric balloon and bathyscaphe. Reaching 15,000 meters above sea level, he was able to describe Earth from above. He describes it as a flat disk with protuberant edges. Don't you think it is weird that this information, received by the father of aeronautics, is deprived from any attention in a school program? Simple calculations and the curvature of Earth obviously becomes a fiction. In reality, this parameter is not taken into account in bridge construction or in artillery. No, on the contrary, all the calculations are made giving Earth is flat. Did you know that on Salar de Uyuni saline, you can stand on one of its sides and take a photo of the opposite one, and you will be able to see a completely plane surface despite all the formulas and calculations that say there should be hundreds of meters of surface curvature for just 100 kilometers distance. And what about Chicago, which is visible from a distance of 140 kilometers? This fact contradicts the spherical Earth theory as well. Considering the curvature, the city would have gone down for hundreds of meters for a person who would look at its direction. And here is something to make you smile. The scientists, the adherents of spherical Earth, explain it as a simple mirage. Let's keep going. All the space shootings are fake. Fiction movies that try to make us eat it up like a newsreel. But we are all humans. We are imperfect and not able to see all nuances. Mistakes always take place during shooting, and attentive viewers will notice them. They are called goofs, and there are plenty of them in so-called cosmic newsreels. Like during the George H.W. Bush's visit to NASA in 2016. In one of the moments, you can see a sign of the blue screen, a chroma key screen, which is used for making special effects. Timothy Peake, an astronaut, stays in front of the blue screen with a tennis ball. Later, we will be able to contemplate him in weightlessness playing with a drop. They simply placed a water texture on the ball. In the shots of mission Gemini 4, made in 1965, if you zoom the picture into Edward White's spacesuit, you will be able to see a reflection of an office. And that's in outer space? All the cameras used for Felix Baumgartner's stratosphere jump show the horizon is curved, but they forgot to correct the view from the stratospheric balloon, which clearly shows the straight horizon. There are plenty of such goofs. Have you ever paid attention to a rocket launch? Why do they change their trajectory and keep going horizontally after just several hundred meters? Some enthusiasts that started doubting about the spherical Earth concept tried launching a rocket themselves by a vertical trajectory. The rocket was gaining height swiftly, but at a certain point it just froze, as if it bumped into something. It stopped the rocket and didn't let it continue its journey. All the aforementioned facts leave us only one true and logical conclusion. There is no space program. No one has ever reached beyond the stratosphere. And that's because Earth is covered with a dome. It is mentioned even in the ancient scriptures. In the Babylonian manuscripts, it is mentioned that Earth has a shape of a convex island, surrounded by water, and the sky is just a firm dome, leaning on Earth. In other ancient scripts, a firmament of heaven that has Earth as a basement is also described. It appeared not to be a metaphor. The dome exists indeed, and among other things, it has an ability to generate different effects. But sometimes glitches take place, and then we can see these strange glows in the sky that appear in Los Angeles, Italy, and many other parts of the world. To have an even more complete picture of our world, we should discuss the Antarctica phenomena. You may be surprised what phenomena we mean. I'm pretty sure a great number of you have no idea that if you'd want to visit Antarctica, you would not be allowed to. It is restricted to explore it on your own. The admittance questions are controlled at the state level, and no one denies that every single picture of the continent is drawn or made using special effects. So what are they trying to hide from us? I will tell you what, the fact is there is no such continent at all, and that the Antarctic is actually an ice wall that encircles our world. And so, summing up, we have Earth's real structure, the one that is being hid from us. Flat Earth, surrounded by an ice wall and covered with a dome. And finally, we have reached the best part. The spherical Earth theory, to put it mildly, is bursting at the seams. First, we mentioned many scientific, known, and omnibus facts that refute this theory on purpose. So even the most skeptical minds could not keep blindly believing this nonsense. But that's just a small part of what we found out. Thanks to frantic efforts and some luck, our clairvoyants managed to break through the blocking dome with their consciousness and have a glance beyond the brink. And what they saw goes beyond even the most extraordinary imagination. Having put themselves together a bit, they understood what the spherical Earth theory was made up for and why it is being imposed on us so much. These shocking revelations will be deposed to you in our next video. Subscribe to our Patreon page to find out more. The link is in the description.